There were a few things that stood out to me about Gonzaga over the weekend, and nothing of this has to do with Anton Watson. Number one was the confidence of Nolan Hickman. Nolan Hickman looks so much more sure of himself now. He looks so much more decisive. Even if he didn't shoot terribly well over the weekend, he went 5 for 14 against Purdue, but he looked so much more confident in the decisions he was making. He looked like he knew, he was sure of himself that he was going to take these shots, the passes that he was going to make. Where a year ago, it didn't look like that. There was still it looked like there was some second guessing, some hesitation in the decisions he was making, and that's gone. This guy looks so much more like the guy I think many people had hoped to see a year ago, and so it's just taken him a little bit more time to grow into the role that he now is in, and also having Ryan Nembhard next to him is a huge help to that, because as many of us predicted, sliding over to the 2 guard was going to help Hickman a lot, and so far it has. Next thing that stuck out to me was Dusty Stromer's constant activity. He is doing so many of the little things well. He is getting the loose balls. He's playing solid defense. He's making the right pass. He's being really unselfish on this team as he's trying to fill the role that Steele Venters vacated after the injury. But he's a guy who already has Mark Few's trust. He played all 40 minutes against UCLA. He's been playing a ton of minutes as a true freshman. That should show everybody just what we should really expect from Dusty Stromer, because we don't see a whole lot of freshmen get immediate minutes and get heavy minutes like this early on from Mark Few, and Stromer's getting it, and partly out of necessity, but he's played well. The shooting isn't there yet. He's still only shooting 29% from the field, which is obviously not good, but clearly he's doing a lot of the little things to help this team win. And this is sort of related. The other thing that stood out was Gonzaga's lack of depth, at least against good teams. These were 3 of the better teams that Gonzaga is going to see all season, and only 7 players played more than 10 minutes in any one of these games in Hawaii, and it was the same 7 players. 3 played all 40 minutes against UCLA, Nembhard, Hickman, and Stromer. We saw far less of Braden Huff in these games. He was not the standout offensive player that we saw the first couple weeks of the season. He only averaged 5 points per game over the weekend, 35% from the field, 14 field goals attempted, 10 of which were threes. So I think there's a little bit of concern over the depth of this squad and the number of minutes that are going to have to be logged by everybody else. The number of minutes are going to have to be logged by a Ryan Nembhard, by a Nolan Hickman, by a Anton Watson. And yes, these guys are veterans. They know what the deal is, and we know that Mark Few typically doesn't go deep into the bench anyway. But it usually takes him a little while before he figures out who those guys are. And we have seen some moments, and obviously it's not like nobody else is playing. We've seen moments from some of the others coming off the bench but I don't think we've seen anything consistent enough to show that, to this point, obviously long way to go, that it's going to be we're going to see much more than these 7 on a regular, consistent basis when the time comes to win a game, when the time comes to play a tough team.